When we think of mining, we probably imagine something like this.
Nobody really understands what a metallurgist is.
Or even this.
In the United States, I don't think mining is well perceived.
But did you know that mining can also look like this?
We're collecting billions of pieces of data on a daily basis.
So then the question becomes,
how do you mine that data to come up with new conclusions to better and more efficiently operate your plant?
In your head, the typical miner probably looks something like this, right? Pickaxe in hand, hard hat in tow, and no doubt deep underground somewhere. Well, the mining industry is far more diverse than you might realize. And like the rest of society, it has been transformed by the use of data. So those jobs that you might not think are part of the mining industry, like metallurgy, are changing too. I'm Kristen Moran, and today on Jobs of Tomorrow, we're going to talk about modern-day metallurgy and how data science is creating exciting new opportunities in this field. Manipulating the elements, turning rock into metal, engineering metal components. If this sounds like something Magneto might excel at, you're right. But you don't have to be the arch nemesis of the X-Men to do any of these things. You just have to be a metallurgist. This branch of science, both literally and figuratively, lays the groundwork for society. But few people really understand the impact of this industry.
Nobody really understands what a metallurgist is. And so in its simplest terms, I tell people that I turn rocks into metal. And that is an extreme oversimplification, but it's the best one to get the gist across.
Raquel Crossman is Chief Metallurgist at Freeport-McMoRan, an international mining company based in Arizona. When it comes to explaining the ins and outs of her craft, you could say she rocks.
There's a lot that goes into metallurgy because rock is not metal by its nature. They're two separate things. And so there's a lot of chemistry that goes into extractive metallurgy. You know, I focus on the hydrometallurgy portion. And so there's a lot of chemistry that's involved, a lot of different ways that you can make those chemical reactions happen.
Dr. Michael Moats spends his day teaching his students about the widespread impacts of his industry and how it provides us with essential materials.
Raw metal, pure metal, iron, copper, zinc, gold, silver, all those metals. And so then a metallurgist will take those raw metals and then put elements back in to create alloys. And then those alloys are used in the production of everything that we use, bridges, cars, cell phones. And so a metallurgist is really supply of the metals from the raw materials and then to use those metals in a way to make society better. The challenges are many. Obviously, we need to do this as efficiently and cost-effective as possible. Just because there's metals in the ground and metals in the rock doesn't mean that we can easily get them out. There's a lot of chemistry involved. There's a lot of hard work and creativity to figure out how to get the materials out of the rock. And of course, over time, the rocks that were really rich in metals have already been mined. As we continue to need more copper, especially for the electrification of society, we need copper to move electricity around. We're going to need 20, 30, 40% more copper per year. How are we going to do that with lower and lower grade materials?
Now that's metal. So what can you thank the metallurgist in your life for? Well, your stainless steel products, assembly gears, bolts and locking mechanisms, magnetic materials. You know, life would look pretty different without this specialization. But to keep supplying us with these products, metallurgists have to get innovative. And that means leveraging data, often by employing sensors to monitor and control processes.
Sensors come in a wide variety and range of things. There are really simple sensors that tell you just whether, a machine is on or off, or whether a valve is open or closed. And so that's, 1010. That combined with a time stamp is a really valuable data set that we can use to tell us something about how the process is doing. But you can also get more complicated sensors, like ones that tell you what the temperature is, or what the flow rates are, or what the oxygen levels are, or what the particle sizes are. And so all of those sensors are also providing us data sets that are a little bit more sophisticated that also tell us a lot about the process. And so it's really a combination. And that's really where data science comes in, is that it's about linking all of these discrete data sets together and letting them all together tell us a story about what's going on inside our processes.
And as metallurgists use the data they collect to get a bird's eye view into their processes, they can also make improvements and inform decision-making in the industry. Corey Stevens, president of Freeport-McMoRan Mining Services, explains how.
Even just over the past 3 or 4 years, we've really come to embrace that way of working, and we've seen tremendous benefits, and the engagement from our employees has never been better, and we're just on the cusp of even just expanding. We're collecting billions of pieces of data on a daily basis, and we started off with very simple algorithms that okay, when this data point is here and this data point is here, you have a mechanical problem.
To really understand the role data plays in metallurgy, it's important to answer this question. What is data science anyway? Well, it's like this. Just kidding. It's really not as complicated as all that. Data science is just an interdisciplinary field that combines computer science, mathematics, statistics, and data mining.
Metallurgy, just like any other scientific field, it generates data. A lot of what we do, all the different processes that we do, we measure flow, we measure temperature, we measure oxygen, we measure chemistry content, we measure particle size. A lot of what we do generates data. And really what data science is, what do you do with that data? Now that you have it, what do you do with it? And what kind of models and things can you create with it?
The result? Constant improvement and updating processes for the better.
By combining the two together, we're finding that we're getting really phenomenal results. And we know things about the process in metallurgy that we never knew about before.
But how do organizations actually collect this data? Well, it's a combination of factors, like machine learning, data clustering and visualization, and distributed data frameworks. Corey told me how some of these advances work, starting with remote asset monitoring.
Remote asset monitoring is the ability to look at the data from equipment performance real time. We're collecting billions of pieces of data on a daily basis. And we started off with very simple algorithms that okay, when this data point is here and this data point is here, you have a mechanical problem. Then we started to build on that from there. 10 years ago, we started collecting data from our haul trucks. And then you can take other data points and you can understand the operator or driver performance, all right? What gear they're selecting, how fast are they going, how close are they to the next truck in front of them, so we can monitor the safety side of it. So real time, we can tell if a piece of equipment like a haul truck is not performing up to its optimum, but we can tell very granularly whether it's a mechanical problem, whether it's an operator issue and what that operator might need to be trained on, or whether it's a road condition and we know the exact GPS coordinates of the road condition.
But what kinds of conversations are they having? Metallurgists are using data to bring about tangible change in the industry. Change that not only makes for better products, but also makes the job easier for prospective employees. In her position as a senior data science analyst for Freeport-McMoRan, Shannon Ennis spends her days evaluating data and applying new processes to the company's projects.
Some projects will be at our copper concentrators, where we're separating the copper from the rest of the ore. And so we'll take in different flow rate data, chemical composition data from that, and we will try to predict and optimize the production by using a recommendation engine. That's one project. There are others where we monitor equipment health and try to predict when a piece of equipment will fail before it happens, so someone can intervene before there's a catastrophic failure. There we'll measure things like temperatures, pressures, things like that. And then there's also some safety-related projects where we use video analytics. So we'll look at the ore coming down a chute and try to predict when that material starts to change. It's called a mud rush, when the material starts to get too moist and then water rushes in and it fills the chute and causes big problems for operators at the site.
Once you collect all that data, though, it can be overwhelming trying to interpret it, or simplify it enough to help really make a difference to operations.
Every plant that I've ever worked with collects humongous amounts of data. They measure every tank, they measure every process in the plant, and there's multiple data points. And so then the question becomes is, how do you mine that data to come up with new conclusions to better and more efficiently operate your plant?
This is where Michael says organizations can focus their efforts. He's helped Freeport-McMoRan do exactly this.
One of the ways I helped the company do that was we took 10 years worth of data from their process and we mined that to look at what process parameters affect a certain quality outcome. And we were able to come up with an empirical formula from that data mining exercise that the smelter now uses to decide what they're going to feed into their furnace so that the copper that comes out of that is higher purity copper. And so they do that to basically operate a $3 billion a year smelter using the 10 years worth of data that they mined. So there's a lot of data mining. Industry is going to just continue to do more AI, machine learning, so that when humans aren't seeing the correlations, the machines are. There's just so much data that is mined and used throughout the mining process, all the way from the mine face, all the way to the metal production. And so the need for computer scientists and electrical engineers to be able to mine that data efficiently and effectively is going to drive innovation in the mining industry.
As the mining industry and the field of metallurgy evolves, how are experts drawing new talent?
I guess that kind of felt like a calling almost, that it was an opportunity for me to make society better with the abilities I have.
The mining industry has been going through an evolution this last decade. The demand for minerals and other crucial materials continues to soar. But now, there's a greater focus on cleaner, environmentally sustainable mining. The industry is working towards acknowledging their role in climate change and pollution. And today, advances in machine learning, AI, and other cutting-edge tech are beginning to eliminate environmentally harmful practices in the field. But even with these advances, attracting and retaining talent in this industry can be difficult, largely due to misconceptions about mining jobs.
In the United States, I don't think mining is well perceived. I think most people see mining as a polluter, like I kind of did earlier in my career, and they see it as, a source of problems and something they don't want in their backyard. But what mines are producing is the basis for life as we know it today. It's the basis for infrastructure improvements. I mean, we're lifting up the quality of life for people all across the world.
A field like metallurgy is essential to keep society running. Although we don't often think of its impact, without skilled scientists and engineers working as metallurgists, we wouldn't be able to construct metal and mineral products like airplanes, automobiles, ships, buildings, and even small items like knives and forks. Kaylin Johnson is a metallurgist and a recent graduate from Missouri S&T, and says not to discount this field when trying to find your place in the industry.
I started out as a ceramic engineer because I really enjoyed chemistry, and so I did that for about a year and a half, And during that year and a half, I started doing undergraduate research and helping a professor out with his metallurgy research. I had enjoyed it so much that I thought, why am I focusing on ceramic engineering when, I'm really passionate about metallurgical engineering? So I ended up making that transition my second year of school, and I've never regretted it since.
Working in metallurgy gives Kalen the opportunity to contribute innovative changes to the industry.
So my job is to, go to management and, try to convince them that, hey, maybe we need to make some changes to improve our processing. And in the end, you're going to make better quality metal out at the end, and you're going to produce more, and it's going to be hopefully more environmentally friendly as well.
Not to mention, this is an industry that can take you places you never expected.
When students come to study metallurgical engineering, here in the United States, you can work from coast to coast and from Canada to Mexico. There's metallurgical engineering jobs throughout.
And there's no shortage of specializations to choose from.
There are jobs within the mining space where you're working on recovering metals from rocks, but then there's also a lot of jobs related to steel production, working in foundries and making castings for automotive, for railways, for really anything that we have castings for. Several of our students end up working in the oil and gas industry, working as corrosion engineers at refineries and on pipelines. Several of our engineers work for large manufacturing firms, obviously Toyota, General Motors, Nissan. Metallurgists work both in the selection of metals for cars, but also for the casting of engine blocks. Caterpillar, John Deere, those types of equipment companies hire a lot of metallurgists because their products are made out of metal.
There's really a wide variety of projects you can work on in this industry. We're using neural networks, we're using different optimization algorithms, we're doing video analytics. So you'll have the opportunity, if you go into this industry, into data science and the mining industry, to work on a whole ton of different things. It's not, just take a pickaxe and mine anymore. It's a lot more technologically advanced.
With all these options available to you, metallurgy certainly sounds like an attractive field, but it's easy to get overwhelmed by the breadth of the industry. If you're a complete newbie, Raquel says you don't have to fear. There is still a place for you among the metallurgy ranks.
You don't have to have data science. You could be a data engineer. Maybe you like looking at the data and trying to throw out anomalies and things like that. We have data engineers, we have data analysts, really. It's a wide range of skill sets that we're looking for getting into, that if data science doesn't speak to you, but another portion does, there's probably a place for you. If you're interested in data and you get a data science degree, that's really all you need to get your foot in the door. Really, you just have to have that skill set to start with. Or the other way around, right? If you already have that mining background, if you are not just a metallurgist, but if you're a mine engineer or if you're an electrician or, anything along those lines, and if you have the interest in learning that data science, we'll help you do that.
And we've got a tremendous amount of smart people in our organization building on capabilities and improving their skills and allowing new professions to bloom within our organization in a way that is dynamic, that leverages what we've learned in the past, but being able to pilot and trial things out as we go forward is tremendously important to us and a big focus of what we do. But we also, when we try something out, it's not accountability or blame if it doesn't work out. If somebody lower in the organization comes up with an idea and we try it out, we collectively own that failure.
The mining industry, they reward you very well. It's partially due to there's just not enough engineers going into the field, but also it's, it can be a very stressful job. It can be a lot of work, but, if you're a hardworking individual and, you enjoy a challenge and you enjoy those problem-solving moments where, something comes at you that, no one expected and you have to figure it out. If you enjoy those type of situations, it's very rewarding and they do compensate very well for that.
There's more to metallurgy than meets the eye. This is an industry rife with opportunity, collaboration, and innovation. And it's also vital to keep society running smoothly. As we integrate data science into mining, we're revolutionizing the industry and making way for the jobs of the future. Jobs that could someday be yours. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Kristen Morand. We'll see you on the next episode
as we explore the jobs of tomorrow.